Welcome to Jeng Podcast, you guys. Today we're diving deep into the heart of African leadership, exploring the legacies of some of the continent's most prominent presidents. We're talking about the giants, the game changers, the ones whose names echo through history. Some for their inspiring leadership, others, not so much. Look, governing a country is no easy feat, especially in Africa, am I right? Between the economic hurdles, the social complexities, it takes a special kind of someone to navigate those waters. We'll be unpacking the triumphs, the struggles, and the controversies that have come to define these leaders. From the fight against apartheid to groundbreaking advancements in education and women's rights, we're covering it all. So buckle up, because we're about to embark on a roller coaster of a journey through Africa's political landscape, where the stakes are high, the stories are captivating, and the impact is undeniable. Let's get into it! You can't talk about influential African leaders without mentioning Nelson Mandela. I mean, this is the man who stared down apartheid and emerged victorious. For 27 years he endured the horrors of prison, yet he never lost sight of his vision for a free and equal South Africa. Mandela's leadership transcended politics. It was about forgiveness, about reconciliation. He understood that true freedom meant breaking the chains of hatred and building a nation where everyone belonged. He showed the world that even in the face of unimaginable adversity, hope could triumph. Talk about shattering glass ceilings. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf made history as Africa's first elected female president, leading Liberia through a period of recovery after years of devastating civil war. She inherited a nation in shambles, but with unwavering determination, she steered Liberia towards peace and stability. But she didn't stop there. Sirleaf championed economic growth, fought tirelessly for women's rights, and proved to the world that women are a force to be reckoned with in leadership. She's a true inspiration, not just in Africa, but globally. Kwame Nkrumah, the Osagyefo, the man who led Ghana to independence from colonial rule. He wasn't just content with freeing his own nation. Nkrumah had a much grander vision, a united Africa, free from the shackles of colonialism and ready to claim its rightful place on the world stage. He believed in a Pan-African dream, a continent united in its diversity and driven by self-reliance. His passion ignited a fire for independence across the continent, inspiring countless other nations to break free and chart their own destinies. Now, whether that dream will ever be fully realized, well, that's a conversation for another day. In Tanzania, they called him Mwalimu, the teacher. And that's precisely what Julius Nyerere was, a leader who believed in the power of education to uplift a nation. He prioritized education for all Tanzanians, understanding that knowledge was the key to true independence and self-reliance. Nyerere also championed Ujamaa, a socialist philosophy rooted in communal living and social equality. Now, while his socialist policies had their critics, there's no denying Nyerere's genuine commitment to social justice and uplifting the lives of everyday Tanzanians. Jomo Kenyatta, the founding father of Kenya. This man fought tooth and nail for his country's liberation from British rule, becoming Kenya's first president. He led with a vision of unity, urging Kenyans to put aside their tribal differences and forge a common national identity. Kenyatta's focus was on nation building, on laying the foundation for a prosperous and independent Kenya. He promoted economic development, invested in infrastructure, and worked tirelessly to establish Kenya as a key player on the African continent. Robert Mugabe, the man who liberated Zimbabwe from the clutches of white minority rule. He was once hailed as a hero, a symbol of African resistance. But, and it's a big but, his legacy is deeply complicated by his later years in power. Once a champion of independence, Mugabe's rule was marred by authoritarianism, human rights abuses, and economic mismanagement. His land reform policies, while intended to address historical injustices, led to economic turmoil and widespread suffering. It's a cautionary tale of how power, once unchecked, can corrupt even the most well-intentioned leaders. Now let's talk about Idi Amin, the self-proclaimed conqueror of the British Empire, which, is a bit of a stretch. Amin's reign in Uganda was a dark chapter in African history, marked by brutality, paranoia, and a complete disregard for human life. His regime was responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Ugandans. He expelled Asians from the country, decimated the economy, and ruled through fear and intimidation. Amin's reign serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of unchecked power and the fragility of human rights. Mobutu Sese Seko, the man who ruled Zaire, now the Democratic Republic of Congo, with an iron fist for over 3 decades. He renamed the country, he renamed himself. Basically, he treated Zaire like his own personal playground. And while he presented himself as a modernizer, Mobutu's regime was built on a foundation of corruption, patronage, and the systematic plundering of the country's wealth. He amassed a personal fortune while his people lived in abject poverty. Mobutu's rule is a textbook example of kleptocracy, a system where leaders exploit their power for personal gain, leaving their nation impoverished and broken. Omar al-Bashir, the former president of Sudan, a man whose name has become synonymous with the horrors of the Darfur conflict. Under his watch, Sudan descended into chaos, with government forces and their allied militias unleashing unimaginable violence against civilians. The atrocities in Darfur shocked the world, leading to al-Bashir's indictment by the International Criminal Court for war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide. His case stands as a stark reminder of the international community's responsibility to hold leaders accountable for their actions, no matter how powerful they may be. Charles Taylor, the former president of Liberia, a man whose path from warlord to president is as complex as it is tragic. Taylor ignited a brutal civil war in Liberia, plunging the nation into years of violence and instability. His forces were notorious for their use of child soldiers, amputations, and other horrific human rights abuses. While he eventually became president through a controversial election, Taylor's past caught up with him. He was found guilty of war crimes and crimes against humanity by a special court in The Hague, a testament to the fact that even heads of state are not above the law. And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the legacies of some of Africa's most prominent presidents. We've journeyed through triumphs and tragedies, explored the complexities of leadership, and confronted the very real consequences of power. From iconic figures like Nelson Mandela, who taught the world about forgiveness and reconciliation, to the brutal dictatorships of Idi Amin and Mobutu Sese Seko, the stories of these leaders offer invaluable lessons about the challenges facing Africa and the world at large. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful content on global leaders and their legacies. We'll see you in the next one.